Hey, you guys, welcome. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Sunday. So, we are here. We're going to talk about Sarah Boone, y'all. There has been an update 2 days ago, and y'all know I cannot wait for this trial to go underway, y'all. So, Sarah Boone was granted by the judge the opportunity to come to her trial and not be able to be, she doesn't have to be shackled or handcuffed, but there is some kind of device the judge was talking about being put on her leg. So y'all, we're going to jump right on into it, y'all. We're going to see exactly what this judge granted her and what was said and what they are doing for her motion that she was granted. So let's jump right on into it.
From the state, the courts would grant the motion that she would be unhandcuffed for any hearing we have moving forward. Instead of her position in the box, we would probably have her seated at counsel's table, unless I hear an objection from the state as to that. We'll address motions first. State, any position with regard to being unshackled and B, being seated at counsel's table for any motions moving forward?
No, we defer to the court and the sheriff's office, who is in charge of security. Our concerns are just making sure that she's given a fair trial and fashioning a remedy that is a fair presentation for the jury to observe.
Okay, perfect, thank you. All right, so now the court's going to grant your motion, and then you will be unhandcuffed for every hearing moving forward. And instead of being in the jury box, you'll be seated at counsel's table. Okay, you may still have your leg restraints on, but you'll be hands-free. For the purpose.
Okay, so he says she will still have her foot restraints, but not her handcuffs. But it's gonna go further in. So let's continue.
This is a trial in accordance with the Florida Supreme Court decision in Weaver. You will be hands-free and you will not be shackled with legs, but the stun cuff, as identified by Sergeant Barnett, will be affixed to you, and you'll have to sign that waiver. Do you have any questions for me, ma'am?
For sitting here in the counsel's table, you also said that I would be shackled. I'm not shackled now. Will I be shackled then?
My understanding is that you were. If you're not, and the only thing you have is your handcuffs?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. If that's the case, then you'll be seated at counsel's table with that, as you are without your hand restraints.
Okay, so I would be unbound.
Correct.
Yes, thank you.
All right. The other.
So they were saying, from what I can recall, about her hands being free, but her feet still being shackled. But I believe they were trying to get the situation, because it is a protocol they have to follow while inmates are in custody during their trial. But let's continue, y'all. Let's continue.
Other item I have on. Yes, sir.
I think the sheriff's office is looking for clarification, and I think I am too.
Okay.
I think the situation is because she has handcuffs on now, she doesn't have leg restraints, but for hearings, when her hands are unrestrained, her legs would be restrained.
Okay, I'm getting a thumbs up.
Okay, so it would be like vice versa. So right now she has the handcuff, the belly shackles on with the handcuffs, and then it will be like a vice versa swap. So she will be with the shackles on her feet, and then her belly shackles will be like taken off, hands free. However, y'all, I already looked over this video, and they're going to talk about some kind of shunt cuff or something like that. I'm going to have to look that up, because is this the same thing that Daryl Brooks was complaining about? They put on his feet like a shock collar or something, that Daryl Brooks was calling it. But, you know, Daryl Brooks was doing the most too. But let's continue.
So from the deputy in the back, if that's the case. Is that the standard operating procedure, Deputy Logan? Okay, so ma'am, so I'll clarify my order. For the purposes of any hearings, you'll be hands-free, but you will have leg restraints.
Yes.
That's not going to affect any fairness or impartiality, because it's just you and me and the state, and no jurors will see that. Yes,
also, Judge, when she's being transported from the jail, she is going to be fully handcuffed with the belly chains and all that, we can take those off.
In
when
advance.
she gets up here.
Yeah, I agree, I understand that. I'm just worried about the fairness here in the courtroom, especially when we bring in a jury panel. Okay, and for the purposes of trial, ma'am, you'll have no leg restraints, no hand restraints, your hands free, legs free, but you will have the stun cuff affixed to your.
See, you guys, the judge said that she will not have the shackles on her feet, the belly band shackles, but also he said something about like a stunt cuff. Is like I said, is that stunt cuff something that Daryl Brooks was talking about while he was in court? But y'all know Daryl Brooks was doing the most anyway. They was not about to let Daryl Brooks be far from being shackled. So now yeah, so yeah, I wonder if this is like if she tries to go further, because later on the judge will explain where she can go and where she can't go during her trial, because she is representing herself. If you guys don't know, the judge granted her to do her to what's it called, to do her trial by herself, represent herself. That's what it's called, represent herself while during this trial. So when she's representing herself, she does have to go up and ask questions for people who are in being questioned, the witnesses and stuff like that, or kind of moving about a little bit in the courtroom. But I think this stunt cuff, you guys, I'm gonna look into it, but I believe this stunt cuff is what is gonna, if she does try to go where she's not supposed to go, do they shock her? I mean, I don't know. But let's carry on, y'all. Let's carry on, because I'm trying to figure out what this stunt cuff is. But let's carry on.
Or leg, and as identified by Sergeant Barnett, you're gonna have to sign that waiver every day, okay?
Of course, and if I may, if anyone knows, the stun cuff, does it go over clothing or does it have to
It
just?
is under your clothing, as Sergeant Barnett identified. I have a representative from the Public Defender's Office who I've asked to be here. She's gonna have a conversation with you, ma'am, after our hearing, so she can facilitate clothing for you, including pants that would prohibit the jury from viewing that device on your legs,
Yes,
okay?
thank you.
All right. Does that clarify for you, State?
Yes, I just saw them and I thought that I saw the confusion based on my experience and how it's done.
Okay.
Who cleared it up?
Thank you. Now, ma'am, that doesn't mean that you're gonna be able to wander wherever you want in the courtroom. There's gonna be spots where you're gonna be able to go to. You're not gonna be able to walk all the way up to witnesses. You're not gonna be able to walk everywhere that you want. There's gonna be places that you're gonna have to go to. When we get closer to trial.
See, he's saying that she's only allowed to go to certain areas in the courtroom, which is understandable, because if there are like the family members are in the back and watching the trial, or the jurors and things like that, being that this is a murking trial, she may be feeling some type of way, and if she is let loose, I could imagine if she's able to roam the courtroom, of course, what would happen. But I know they would never do that to put so she's not in harm's way, or the victims of the family or the jurors are not, of course, in harm's way. So it makes perfect sense. But we need to figure out what this stunt collar is, because I think that's like a shock collar. But we gotta see, y'all. We gonna check this out. We is going to research this and figure out what a stunt cuff is. But let's carry on.
We'll address the box, for lack of a better word, for where you'd be able to go and not go. And I'm gonna give the same limitations to the state, okay?
I understand.
All right? Are you okay with addressing that later, Counselor?
Yeah, I mean, what I would envision is if she needs an exhibit brought to witness, I have no problem getting up and doing that for her.
I was gonna, either you could do it or I was gonna have the deputies do it. So, ma'am, I envision that because you're gonna be able to move about freely, and our jurors are not gonna know that you have any restraints on you, and they're not gonna be able to see the stun cuff, you can conduct any questions or statements or arguments from where you would like to be in the courtroom, either at counsel's table or at the podium here for you. If you need to approach a witness or you need to provide evidence to someone, I'm gonna ask you and the state to both provide that information or that document to one of the deputies, and they'll be able to approach the witness for you, okay?
Yeah, see, they're saying that there's documents that she wants to present to the witnesses, that give them to the what it called, the police, whatever they're called in the courtroom, and they'll, give them to the witness, I guess, just to make sure that there's no contact, because this is a sensitive case, because what Sarah Boone is accused of is, yes, it's horrific. But y'all, let's carry on.
Thank you.
All right. Do you have any questions about the court's ruling or the procedures for you having movement throughout the courtroom during the course of our trial?
No, I understand. And you said that it would be clarified greater once we get closer to that date. But I would like to ask, please, when the time does come for any exhibits or anything to be handed to jurors, yourself or anyone in the courtroom, is it an option for the state or a deputy, or is it specifically whoever's the closest and can do it faster?
So what I'm going to do, ma'am, is I have spoken with the sheriff's office. I'm going to endeavor to have additional security in the office or in the courtroom, so that there will be a deputy for basically your disposal, will be seated closer to you, so that if you have a document that you want to bring to a witness's attention or ask them questions about it, you can hand it to that dedicated deputy for you, ma'am.
Yes, that is my preference, please. Thank you.
That's what I'm endeavoring to try to do for you.
Yes.
Okay, so they are being fair. They're making sure that she does get a fair trial, as everyone is entitled to a fair trial. But they're also trying to make sure that this inmate, she is incarcerated. So they are trying to make sure that there's no way that, for one, that, she's able to just escape. And then for two, the safety of herself and, of course, of everybody in the courtroom, because, her crime is an awful one, of course. So they want to make sure everybody is secure and safe, because if something happens, they're going to be pointing fingers like, well, y'all should have should have kept her in the shackles, or it might be a lot of finger pointing. I'm just saying, y'all. So let's continue. I think this is like it's wrapping it up. So we got a few more minutes.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions about the ruling?
No, sir.
Okay, so your motion is granted for the reasons stated on the record.
Thank you.
State anything to clarify.
No, you're not.
Okay.
So you guys, Sarah Boone has been granted, the judge granted her let me close this down, y'all. So the judge, he went ahead and granted Sarah Boone the motion for her to not be in the shackles, or the belly shackles, or the foot restraints. So Sarah's gonna be free in the courtroom, except for she is gonna have a stunt, something they call it, stunt, on her leg. So I need to figure out what that is. A stunt cuff, I believe the judge said, a stunt cuff. So I'm gonna figure out and find out what a stunt cuff is, y'all. Let's go check and see what a stunt cuff is. Let's go. Let me see if I can. Let me go to Google and see if I can figure out what a stunt cuff is. Let's see. What is a stunt cuff? In corrections, Department of Corrections. I can't spell, y'all. Department of Corrections. Let's see what this says. Okay, there we are. Let's see. Let me share my screen, y'all. I'm sorry, hold on. Uh-oh. Let's share my screen and let's see. Okay, so here we are. And it says a stunt cuff is designed to attach directly to a prisoner's leg or wrist and be fired remotely, delivering a 5-second burst of 50,000 volts. Y'all see that? So, okay. So exactly what I thought it was. Maybe Daryl Brooks wasn't lying. Maybe he was telling the truth for the first time about him having that on his leg. However, I'm not sure what he had on his leg, but they weren't gonna let Daryl Brooks move around the courtroom with his crime the way they're going to allow Sarah Boone to move around the courtroom with her crime. But at the same time, Daryl Brooks, his behavior was awful. Bad behavior does not get rewarded. Now, being that they are already incarcerated, the thing is your behavior counts like a little child a lot when you are incarcerated. Because if you're in there cutting up, acting a fool, acting a donkey, of course you're not going to get those privileges to freely roam the courtroom. You see, if you guys seen Daryl Brooks' court case, he was not able to move around like that. He was actually had to like stay put at the little table, and make sure that he wasn't able, of course, to move around the courtroom because his behavior was off the chain, out of this world. Y'all already know. Daryl Brooks, he cut up every single day. Every single day. Every single day he cut up. Yeah, that part. So Daryl Brooks, I'm sure they probably put a whole bunch of voltages on the cup that he had because they know he did not know how to behave himself. You know, they got to treat him like a little elementary child because he was a mess. But Sarah Boone is given, has been granted the motion for her to not wear that. So, but the judge said she can only go certain places within the courtroom, which I'm sure are not going to be very far, of course. But being that she's representing herself, they have to open the floor to her, I believe. Probably, might be a part of their, protocol when you are defending yourself and you are in custody. You are limited to where you're able to go in the courtroom because you are going to be asking questions to the witnesses and speaking, throughout your court case. So y'all, that is the update on Sarah Boone. Sarah Boone then had 11 defense attorneys granted to her, appointed to her, and she cut up with every last one of them. So the judge on the seventh appointed court appointed judge, attorney, I'm sorry, the judge was like, look, Sarah, you are not getting no more court appointed attorneys. What you're going to do is you're going to represent yourself. Your case is coming up. You need time to figure out how to get your your lawyer's degree and understand the regulations and the rules and the laws and stuff like that from the time that, between now and the time that your court case is going to go, going to go underway. But so so she has to represent herself. And I seen in this earlier, I should have kept it up on the screen, but she was asking the judge a question, and the judge was like, I cannot provide that because that is like I am providing you information, like, counsel, and I cannot do that because she chose to represent herself. The same thing that happened with Daryl Brooks when he represented himself. He's asking all these questions because when you represent yourself, there's no way that you're going to learn everything about your case and to where you can represent yourself to the best of your ability, like in a lawyer's arena per se. So the thing is she's already asking questions, and the judge is like, I can't provide you that information because that's, I will be providing counsel to you then. So she has to, when people take on these cases and they're able to represent themselves, they have to understand that, you can't, the teacher is not going to give you the answers to the test because you should have studied and you should have knew what you were getting yourself into before. So when she's asking these questions, they're not going to give her the answer. She has to go back to her cell, back to them lawyer books and the law library or whatever they call it in prison and jail, and get some reading done to understand whatever question that she has for the judge, because the judge is not going to give her the answers to the test like Daryl Brooks. Judge Darrell was like, I cannot provide you that information. I can't. You're representing yourself basically. So you have to know what you're saying and what you're doing. However, like I said, these laws are written to where it's like almost another language. You got to really, reference and dissect what the law is saying. But that's the road that she chose. and Sarah Boone's has to, deal with that for the rest of, her court case. But I think she's acting like she got a little sense, the last court case, the one that I just went over, she's acting pretty decent. I mean, she always has. I mean, not too bad, nowhere near crazy like Daryl Brooks, but she got some narcissistic, and this is my opinion, y'all. I'm not no doctor or anything, but she has some narcissistic tendencies when she first got came into custody, first got arrested and all that when this case, because it's been like, wow, I think right after Daryl Brooks is when she got arrested on this on these charges. But yeah, she is gonna be I think she may be okay. I don't know. She may catch an attitude here and there, because I'm sure the judge is going to continue to tell her, look, you asking me a question, but you say you're going to represent yourself. I'm not going to answer that question. So it's probably going to frustrate her. But, those are that's what you signed up for. So you sign up for that. I mean, that's what you have to be prepared to, to handle. But y'all, so so basically that is it. That's the last update for Sarah Boone. That was 2 days ago. So Sarah Boone did get approved for her she won her motion for her to remove the handcuffs and shackles during her trial. So let's see what is next. I'm not sure. I think her trial starts in October, I believe, and she's in Florida. So we're gonna definitely stay tuned to Sarah Boone's trial and see, once it goes underway, what we're going to get out of Sarah. So let's see, y'all. Let's see. We're going to check it out and see how everything goes, because there's some questions that I do have and I want to know, like, how did he get in the suitcase? I mean, did he place himself in there, or did she like fight him in there? Or I'm trying to figure out, how did he get in that suitcase? But there's other questions I have too, but it's all gonna come out in the wash once the court case is underway. Those questions, I'm sure, will be asked by the defense. So that will, I'm sure, be presented in court. So y'all, if y'all like my live, y'all would like, share, and subscribe, and I will continue to bring you guys content, and I will see y'all in the next video, y'all. Bye.